Mike, to be clear, we have been looking at the Third Precinct building there. That is a police building. We'd seen barricades and all kinds of things up around it within the last 24 to 48 hours. You're saying tonight that police have abandoned the precinct altogether. They have left the neighborhood, left that building?
I can't say that they left the neighborhood altogether, but what we saw about 5 minutes before your show was the police gather up en masse in this parking lot that's now dark behind me. They got their vehicles, a bunch of the cops in the riot gear, and they all pulled out at once. The mob loved it. They cheered. They threw things. They came at this fence that you see here. They knocked this fence over. They stormed their way in. Looks like somebody's trying to light a fire in the parking lot there. I don't know what he's got going on. We got some kind of accelerant, and what's really dangerous about that is that can he's using to accelerate that fire. That can blow up in your hands. But all right, so they've got different flaming things. They're trying to start fires inside the third precinct building. I hear a lot of breaking glass. I can see the crowd up against the windows, and yeah, no police presence. The mob's in control out here right now, Shannon.
Okay, so that building, it looks like, is undergoing a lot of potential damage moving forward. We see the damage that's already been done. Mike, any sign of, there's been talk of the National Guard, of other authorities possibly coming in. Any signs of any authorities in that area?
I got to tell you, with all the reports that the National Guard has been activated, I have not seen one guardsman or one guard vehicle throughout this process. I just heard the reports that they were going to be here, and I heard they were going to be here at the Third Precinct. The police presence has largely been pretty minimal, with the idea of minimizing the friction with the police and the demonstrators, backing off, letting the demonstrators have their say, partially with the argument that no one is really disputing what we have seen in terms of evidence that what happened out here was unjustifiable. No one's arguing that point, but as far as the mob goes, the wheels of justice aren't turning fast enough, and I've said this again, they just don't trust the people involved, so the mob is taking over, Shannon.
Yeah, and Mike, a couple of other questions. First of all, when you were there on the scene last night, there was an AutoZone. There were other businesses. The AutoZone appeared to be fully engulfed in flames at one point last night. Are first responders, not police, but are firefighters showing up to these incidents, or are they maintaining distance as well, as far as you can tell at this point?
Well, with some of them, they maintain their distance in terms of, like, I saw a couple of car fires today, and the firefighters never showed up. They ultimately showed up at the AutoZone, but they needed police protection for all of the obvious reasons that you're looking at right now. So they don't show up necessarily as rapidly as they would in another situation. But you do get the firefighters showing up. There were some paramedics that showed up in the parking lot at the Target earlier today, but the mob started coming up after these paramedics who were trying to help people. So ultimately, the police showed up in that situation, fired the tear gas, gave the paramedics a little bit of space to work so they could get the injured people out of the area. So you do see the fire crews eventually, but their work is much more difficult in this environment, Shannon.